Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Average Superstar TV. I am your host, Lauren Lepre. Please humbly hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We got a new episode that comes out every Monday morning at 5 a.m. And this week we are back in the, I guess we could call this a review show for the great Clerks 3. Me and my guest here are giant fans of the Kevin Smith universe. So with that, this will be a spoiler show. Just giving everybody a heads up. You had the weekend for the diehard. So if this show is not for you and you haven't seen it yet, now's the time to click off. But with me, I'd like to welcome Joe Griffo. It's good to see you again.
I know you too.
I know you actually saw this movie about 9 months ago before everybody else.
Yes. And since now that you have seen it, we won't spoil it right now, but now that you have seen it, having to keep that quiet that long was driving me insane, dude. And when people would be like, was it good? Like I couldn't say anything. So I'd just be like, I don't know. Like I was just like, oh man. But yeah, you understand now. And we'll get into that. But yes, I did see it back in December of 2021.
That's amazing. So for everybody watching, I know you are on a first name base with Kevin Smith. So could you kind of just give your backstory to everybody about how that happened?
Yeah. Back during the Reboot Roadshow tour in November of 2019, my wife bought me VIP tickets to meet him. And back then the VIP meant, I didn't know this. I thought it would be like what it is right now, which is like you line up, take a picture, talk to him for a minute. He might sign something and that's it. But the VIP back then was like, there was for 6 people and not at the same time. They took you in a room alone with him and you got to hang out for 20 minutes, which was kind of like,
wow,
blew my mind. Yeah. I was very like, holy shit. Like, and I mean, it was literally just me, Kevin, and Jay. It was it. So, and back there, he was like, "What's up, man? Like, tell me about yourself and ask me anything." And so I was like, "I'm an actor and a filmmaker." And at that time, I had just started doing claymation. And he was like, "I said, oh, and I do claymation." He's like, "Show me." So I showed him, and he was like, "Dude, how much would you charge for this?" And I had no idea. I was like, I don't know, man." But he hired me to do some stuff for him, and I made the Wake and Bake intro for his that Kevin Smith Club, his video blog thing, video podcast, I guess, on his website.
That's marvelous, brother. And then there since then, I mean,
I've seen him. It's so weird because before 2019, I never spoke to the man, and ever since then, it's like consistently been. Every few months, I'll either see him or talk to him through some kind of FaceTime means or something. Like it's a lot of that has to do with that Kevin Smith Club, though, which is cool. You guys should subscribe because you get to hang out with the dude, like literally when he comes.
Is that the show that takes place next to the Quick Stop? Is that what I'm thinking? I don't know his whole universe.
No. What the Kevin Smith Club thing?
Yeah,
that's like it's kind of like a Patreon, but it's like his website, and there's like different tiers. But like basically, if he's on a tour or something, or going, if there's like during the Clerks screening this past week, at the Keswick, there was, and I know in Red Bank, people that are part of the club got to hang out backstage before the movie started. Okay, so that's how I got that. I did get to see him this week because of that.
Gotcha. But you were on one of his shows. I saw you at a panel with him. So is that that
was on Wake and Bake, and I'm actually I'll be on one soon whenever they start posting them again.
But So the audience is following, and I think I'm following. Is that what takes place next to the Clerks store? Is that where they film that?
Not always. That's if he's in town, they'll film like that's where I was when I was on the panel with him. Yeah, that was next to the
I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not always there. It's like most of the time it's in his house. His wake and bake thing. But because he's on tour right now, the wake and bakes right now will be
on the road.
Tour. Yeah, get to see and like hear the fans talk. Like I'm one of those people.
That's awesome. Yeah. And like I said, I've worked a lot of his shows at the Trocadero, like the Hollywood Babylon and stuff. So yeah, he's got it right. Kevin Smith's like a different monster. I mean, like as a friendly monster. Like he's really good with his fans. He knows how to make the most and please his audience because he's so loyal to them about it. I think that is the smartest way for filmmakers these days, in my eyes, with the streaming world that's butchering all that. Like Kevin, you pay a fee. You get to see the movie. He'll do a never-ending Q&A. He'll get really detailed and intimate with all the questions and stuff. But I do think a lot of filmmakers need to take a page of how he's doing it. I just really think his format's just amazing.
Yeah. I should also mention I saw Clerks 3 because of the Kevin Smith Club. So it was like back then they were doing test screenings, and if you were part of the club, they were like, "Hey, who wants to come to a screening at Smod Castle?" And whoever signed up early enough, because it's a small venue, got to go see it. But they wound up doing 2 shows anyway. But like our screening, I think there was 25 people when I saw it, and it was like 98% finished. There was like no end credits.
I know we didn't go into any details yet of what we saw, but could I ask you, when you saw the movie 9 months ago compared to what you just saw at the screening at the Keswick, was there much change?
No. Okay. This like he literally explained what would be added, and like it was exactly what was added. I'll tell you right now, the cameo scenes weren't all in there, so like all that wasn't there. It was just all right, well, I'm going to say spoilers from here now.
Yes.
Even though you shouldn't have clicked away from the beginning, but the Impractical Jokers, they were the only ones. They were the only ones in it when I saw it.
Okay.
During that whole montage, and then the another major spoiler, but the Becky situation.
Yes.
That little picture that you see in the very beginning, that was not there. So Kevin, after the screening, was like, "Who is confused about Becky until the scene at the cemetery?" And everybody raised their hand. He goes, "All right, we're gonna make sure there's something." So there was a lot of that was pretty much all that was different.
Gotcha. Well, let's get right into it. So we've got 3 films over the course of pretty much 30 years, and he had I have to say, as a whole, wow, what a trilogy. And I like how like Clerks sets the tone, and it kind of I think in a small way it everyone could kind of relate to it. Like I'm not saying hey everybody hung out at a quick stop style store, but I think everybody grew up hung out somewhere so they could kind of relate to some like their own world of characters and all that. And then what happens 10 years later, he makes the sequel, and it's like, yeah, it's just the evolution of Dante and Randall, even though they didn't go too far in life, but they're over here now at a different, at a different restaurant. And, boom, it's just like, all right, they get in an argument, big blowout. And then at the end, they're buddies, and they inherit they get a hold of the Clerks store and they actually buy it. And this is where we belong in life. And then you got this third one that's like, wow, because you got to go down memory lane, but at the same time, the story really goes forward. And like, to me, right out of the gate, what you said with Beck's like early, you're just like, wow, like what a way to start the movie. You just see this picture that she passed, and you're just like, wow, there's a lot to take, but the movie just starts rolling. You can't really focus on that too long. you really can't till you get to the graveyard scene, as you said.
And it's pretty heavy. Like like it's funny. It's very funny, but it's a pretty heavy movie. And that's why I loved it. Like I figured I would like it no matter what, because I pretty much like everything Giant Silent Bob are a part of. But this was just like, wow. I truly believe it was a perfect third movie. It puts it into the running of like a greatest trilogy for me, because all three movies are fantastic.
I put that, dude, when you say trilogies, like I was thinking about that, like coming home, and like I think the first three Lord of the Rings was like perfect. Everybody could jump on me from the comments below what I'm about to say next, but I like Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. Like I think they were a beautiful trilogy, especially Glass. And then I actually got to put these three, and I like these three particularly because like everything else I'm telling you is kind of like a little over here, a little of this, but like that's not, I shouldn't word that right. The Lord of the Rings was like right in a row. It was just a continuance of the story. These three, yeah, but they're also standalone films. Like you could literally watch one of these and not have to see the other two, but you should. But you'd still understand what was going on. I thought they were brilliantly done. Kevin Smith is number one. He has the time. He hasn't spread out over 30 years. It's not like he didn't have the time to fine tune it all over and all. But man, I mean, I thought he hit a huge home run this round, like huge, and it was like heartfelt.
Yeah, it was. It was a beautiful movie. Like I don't know how else to put it other than just like it. Just it reflecting on this journey you've taken with the characters, and then looking at your own life in parallel to their progress. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just from work. Yeah, I don't know. The movie just means it hit me right in the feels, Lauren.
You're right. It was the perfect. No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're trying to say. It was a perfect wraparound. It really was like the best third act you could get. That it really because I'm one of them people. I don't like when they keep making sequels, but Kevin Smith's brain just works better. Like I don't want to see a fourth. I don't know where he could go, but if he announces it, I got to go in with like. He's hit 3 home runs, so don't bet against him on the fourth one,
and he's even still said like in some of the Q&As at some of the screenings that he wouldn't be opposed to doing another one, but it would be very different, obviously.
We didn't say what happened yet.
No. I don't want to say what happens till towards the end, just because.
We'll go in order.
But I love the Giants. I love Giant Silent Bob in this movie. I thought they were used perfectly.
Yes,
they were very funny. I like the weed store aspect of the whole thing. So that made me laugh a lot.
I thought they were used just enough because it really was the story of Dante and Randall.
That's what I mean.
That is what Clerks is.
Right? Yeah, I know. I just they were they were used the perfect amount, and they worked so well for me in the whole movie.
I for one was hoping for another Christian Elias straight through, but even though that changed, I was still cool with it. But
I did I liked it better the second time because I think I felt the same way the first time I saw it because I liked Elias in that version. But when I saw the second time, I was like, oh, this is really it's kind of brilliant. Like his outfit changes every time.
Oh yeah. Especially like the Frankenfurter one. Like he's just going for it. But yeah, but he had a big key role, especially we'll get towards the end, but calling out Randall and all that. But he and then he got his own Silent Bob character attached to him. So I thought that was cool, like a newer generation, different. But I thought it was just so good, and I liked how like right out of the gate, Randall has the heart attack, and we're gonna go back through all this and stuff, but you could say the first film is about the day in the life of Dante. I mean, this is straight up, and he's got this crazy, friend next door at the video store and all that. But now years later, they're business partners, but when you go to the second movie, it's just the evolution of the characters. It was kind of like saying hi to them again, but there's a situation over here, and Dante's going to move away and get married to the wrong woman, and then true love prevails. But this one was, you had your Dante moments, but this was a very dark time for Dante overall. Before we bring up the ending, like he wasn't, his head was not in the right place. This wasn't so like. I'd say it's 50% that funny Dante Hicks moments, but at the same time, he was in a dark place, and he had the right to be. His character had his right to be,
Oh yeah. Whew, it was rough. What happened to Dante right after the events of Clerks 2?
Yeah. So, did we just say this now so we could go on, or do we want to? Well, we just brought it up, yeah. So his wife's character passed.
Right.
From
Becky.
Drunk driver, right?
Yes.
Was it supposed to be 9 months after that? Was that what I gathered? Because I have to say, there is a few hazy moments when you're watching it with the Clerks fans. It's like, it's worth it because you're with, the Kevin Smith universe, but some of the laughter I drowned it out, some of the dialogue. So what I'm trying to say to the audience too is like, I need to watch this by myself again to fill in those few little gaps. But was it about 9 months? Was it supposed to be like right after?
Right before.
Right before what? Like right before they opened up
right before she was supposed to have the baby.
Okay.
So it's like
so they didn't have the baby. The baby basically died in her womb.
Died in the crash. Yeah.
But, so this set Dante for the audience. It sent Dante down obviously a dark road. Because he lost the love of his life. And, it's got a dark twist to add on, but as dark as a Kevin Smith can make it, because he's still going to keep it upbeat.
Yeah. There's enough like comedic moments to break up the dramatic tension, but like that's but the third act is pretty downer.
Yeah. Let's keep that going there. So Randall has a heart attack, and it's kind of humorous straight through, but he pulls through, and it says he sees like his whole life flash before him. And he realized he hasn't done anything, so he thinks it's a great idea to make a movie about himself. And for all his fans, it's a reenact in black and white of everything that we saw at the original movie. So we all get to see the characters that we loved in the first movie, over again. And when we got to definitely see, Marilyn, Marilyn's character come back, which was really cool. I mean,
she was great.
Yep. And because she was
wonderful person too. I've met her a couple of times. She's awesome.
She was there. I was at the 1:30 screening. There were 2 screenings in Red Bank, and I saw her in my aisle, but like a gap, between like there's like 3 gaps of aisles, but no one noticed her, and I didn't want to go over and like blow her cover because she was like sitting in the crowd. So was Brian O'Halloran, like and a few others.
They were literally right in front of me when I was watching it last week.
But no one a few people noticed, but like I didn't want to be going over like, hey, can I introduce myself a second? And then there's a giant line of people with cameras. Like, you don't want to be that guy. So I respect.
It was cool. I didn't know Brian knew me by sight because that was weird because I had just finished talking with Kevin backstage, and I guess they had just come in And I hear Joe, and I turn around, and it was Brian and Marilyn. And I was like, "Oh, hey, man!" He's like, "Hey, come here!" And I walked over, said hi, and I told him I had seen the movie already. He's like, "When did you see it?" I was like, "I saw it back in December." He was like, "Oh, there's a couple things added since you saw it last." I was like, "I know, I can't wait to see." But it was just that's just so surreal to me. Still, I was like, I didn't know that he knew me from across the room. Type of. It's like, hey,
You're
man,
moving on up, friend. You're moving on up. I like it.
No, I love Brian though. He was amazing in this movie.
Yeah. But I thought Marilyn's character came in like a ball of fury, and I just thought she hit a home run with performance. It's quick, a lot of the original movie characters are quick, but it was good and it mattered.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on, so the character of Dante actually goes and visits the grave of his deceased wife Bex, and that's where you see her first appearance as a spirit, and you kind of get a fun update and all that, but you also really get the insight that the character of Dante, this isn't like funny, like he's going to work every day, but he ain't right. Like it's kind of like he, in a way, he has no reason to be here. His whole world died with her. So it was a different emotion out of the actor, because all you basically saw was him basically eating shit the first two movies, but in a humorous way, and forgiving Randall. But this was different. This had nothing to do with Randall. Randall starts doing he's being himself, but that could also be a funny thing as well as a brutal thing. The Dante basically, like, he's not easing up on him. And then he did like the filmmaker stuff, like, oh, I wrote a script for my movie all in one night, like one day. It was a lot of good jokes in there about like, oh, you used the first draft, really? Like, you're not really done. Like all filmmakers know that, real ones. But
I love the reason they shoot it in black and white.
Yeah,
Kevin's reason, and it'll give the perspective of looking at the world through the security cameras. We shoot it in black and white, or we don't shoot it at all.
yeah, and that was obviously probably what he really did in the first movie, plus production value with the lighting. He couldn't really like.
Well, no, that the security kid, that was stuff people said online. Like, he had never thought of that, but now he's like, oh, but that's a good thing to say now. So we put that in there.
That's freaking marvelous,
which I think is funny. Oh,
yeah,
man.
there's a lot of jokes, a lot of inside jokes, but as well as, even if you're not a part of the Kevin Smith universe, if you don't follow it, it's still going to be funny to you. So, everyone should, if you get a chance to get to the theater for this, I'm heavily encouraging you to go. It's,
yeah. I just to see it like soon before it gets spoiled, like in this review. We've already spoiled a lot, but not like the big thing.
We warned everybody. It's in the title, too. It's in the title, so no remorse. You can let your hair down, literally.
Nurse Ladenheim was great.
Oh my gosh. Was that the Strangers with Candy actress?
Yeah. Also, she's on the Mandalorians, which kind of makes everything he's saying about the Star Wars show funny, because she's on that show.
Yeah.
And she was also that they kind of just lifted a joke from the Clerks cartoon. So I was just, part of my appearance, it just came from a costume ball. She's dressed as a witch, which is still funny. She was great. A lot of the cameos were really funny.
Randall appoints Dante to be the producer of his movie, AKA, you go out and get me my money. Doesn't really ask him, by the way. He just kind of said, you're doing this for me. And Dante, being Dante, he always caves for Randall, and he makes a call to his ex-wife. Yes, the almost ex-wife from Clerks 2, played by Kevin Smith's wife in real life. Makes a call down to Florida about borrowing money, and some funny exchanges there. But he does get the money, but he has to put up his half of the Clerks store as like collateral. I think it was 30,000. Was it? Was that what it was, or something
roughly.
like that? Roughly, yeah. So
I think what he said is the exact budget that Clerks cost back then, which was I think 27,000.
Yeah, something about that, something around that. But so then Randall kind of comes meanie. He's being kind of like the kind of ruthless. He's being funny, but he's also kind of being ruthless, especially to Dante. And then they begin to start arguing, and Randall doesn't understand either. By the way, that's how Dante got the money. I think he didn't understand. He didn't ask, or a real friend would have asked. And that's where Elias comes in, starts out of all people, and starts letting Randall know. It's kind of for what Elias, it was kind of a nice development for him, like not just being, but just him not being a full imbecile. If he's funny but not a full imbecile, that he could reach Randall.
Yeah, really, because
he was just Randall's punch.
Yeah, and he's the one that made Randall realize, oh shit, like I'm an asshole, or I'm being an asshole to the only person that gives a shit about me. Yeah, dude.
It was So leading in, there's more stress here. So heading into the third act here, Dante is just under rapid stress. He took all that money out for, talked to his almost ex-wife. Stress is just going on and on here. And then he gets in a big fight with Randall on the movie set. And then he hits the floor. He falls to the ground, and now he has a heart attack. And he is now off to the hospital. And that's where, again, Randall, kind of the worst brutality way ever, is this like, well, I'm just going to continue filming my own movie. What am I going to do? I'm
going to make,
like, it was pretty brutal. But that's where Elias stepped up to the plate. And, this is where, the worst part of the movie happens here is, Dante's not going to make it. And
Randall's like, I had a heart attack. I was fine, so he'll be fine.
Yeah. Just assuming, Randall, I don't think ever assumed something like this could happen. But, Randall takes basically the laptop, which, rough cut of the movie, and goes in and sees Dante, who he's conscious, but he can't even talk. He's that out of it. And it basically breaks down, makes up with him, and says, let's watch. It's supposed to be my life. This is really your life. So then, we go through the montages. And as soon as when you see the two worlds going on, when you saw Dante in the movie theater, even though he's really in bed, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I know.
You're just like, you know what's going to happen here. And then the wife comes and sits next to him like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, he's not going to make it. And it kind of was almost like he had a choice, because it's kind of like she was almost like giving him the option, like, you could stay and fight and keep
going. Don't you want to stay and see the end?
See the end.
No,
yeah.
I trust the director.
Yeah,
and
that was
because he didn't have anything left to live for, type of thing. And
basically, I think he thought like Randall will be fine without me, and I belong here with you. And then back into reality. Dante codes and does not make it. And like in the theater, it's like you got all these Clerks fans. And it's like, oh, but like I'm like looking around, like if we were all by ourselves, everyone would be crying. Like this is a big,
dude. I'm telling you, at the screening, everybody was sobbing at our screening. I'm tearing up thinking about it. Like it genuinely felt like I said, I saw it 9 months before I could talk about this with literally anybody, I guess, outside of the people. But I didn't really know anyone I saw it with. So like I mean, I did. I knew a couple people, but like I don't even think they felt comfortable talking about it with the people that had already seen it. So there was just I couldn't talk about it, and it felt like I lost.
The right thing. You were supposed to keep your mouth shut until this.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it felt like seeing like you lose that character felt like losing a real friend in a way, and I was like upset about it. So like I came home from that screening and Mo was like, what's the matter? And I couldn't say why. I was like genuinely like I was like upset. I still love the movie, but I would like it hit me really hard. Like I was like, man, that fucking just not expecting that at all. And I couldn't say a word. So I literally it was
Yeah,
that's all. That's all. I was like, I never want to see a movie I really want to see that early again. Because especially if something like this happens in it, it's like, because I'm terrible at keeping my mouth shut. I'm like,
I'm really good at it. That's funny. Yeah. That it's just that. This I always had, Joe. I was just something about like if someone tells me do not say something, I'm telling you only. I don't know. I almost feel more powerful. Like, okay, this person's trusting me.
Yeah. Oh, I don't mean with secret.
Half the time, I'm like, this is supposed to be a secret. Like it's not a big deal. But okay, you know.
No. Like this was. I just mean like this. It's such a big. Like I'm a huge fan. Obviously, like I've obviously. And I've been wanting to see Clerks 3 for forever, and it was just one of those things where it was like, but I couldn't share it with the world. Like I couldn't. No one had shared. No one had seen it that I knew saw it with me. So I couldn't talk about it.
Yeah, but to be honest, as being a viewer and a fan of that universe, I don't think if the movie would have been as good if if he didn't check out. I think it was so necessary. Like what would have happened if Dante and Randall just made a movie and got in a fight at the end, and then like it's just the same ending as Clerks 2. Like, okay, you're still my friend. I think this had to happen.
In a way. Plus, he's been trying to kill Dante since
the
first movie.
Yeah,
he said that one of the.
He said that in Red Bank.
He said that in Red Bank. Okay.
Yeah.
He said that when I saw it back in the day too. But yeah, he's been trying to kill Dante since then. Yeah, but I think this was the much better way to do it than
much better. Yeah, that would have been. It was unnecessary because he didn't understand. Like he was making a whole universe. Like who was supposed to know? He didn't know. No one knew what Clerks and the whole Jay and Silent Bob universe was going to turn into. I thought, everybody's seen that clip. That ending, the original Clerks. To me, I'm glad he cut it. It doesn't feel right. It just feels.
Yeah, it would have been.
This doesn't belong here. Yeah, but
right, I agree. I mean, I've heard why. Like he wanted to do it because he thought that was the ultimate joke. Like he wasn't supposed to be there, and then he died. But like, like I get it. But
I will say. Randall saying that line though in Clerks 3, that was like, damn, that was a hard one. That was the one of like, damn, all right, but it was a rough. Yeah, I mean, I think Kevin Smith has a big thing about like he's done other movies like Red State and all that, but I think he just knows his audience. He's happy with that. He's grateful for that. So. Who knows how many of these are just going to keep coming out between. Z may have talked about this at the Keswick. He was trying to get the rights back for Dogma.
Mm-hmm.
The evil Harvey Weinstein. Whoever regardless of who he is, he owns it because it's he paid for it.
Yeah, I don't know I don't think he talked about that at the Keswick. I've heard him talk about that many times other places though. But not at the Keswick.
Yeah, he basically said for everybody who has one of those insight things, he had to be there for the Q&A, but he basically said he had an idea to move Dogma forward, but first he had to get the rights to his movies back because Harvey Weinstein, being the executive producer, owns it regardless of the scumbag that he is and everything he did in this world. He's still the owner of the movie. And he basically has the movie shelved right now. And he basically said that Kevin wrote him this long, heartfelt letter, basically saying like, that's my art. Like, you're holding on to my art. He's like, I'm not complaining about, like, just give it to me. I will give you an offer. And I think they offered him $250K. Then it went to $500,000 and then $1 million. He just kept saying, no. I think he wanted $4 million to get the rights back. Now, when he gets the rights back, he gets the movie back, but then also the right to make the franchise keep going. But right now, like Harvey, as much as that guy's a horrible human being, it's not like that guy needs money. You know what I mean? Like he could be spiteful. I mean, because Kevin did say, I forget the funny phrases he used that insult him, but he was. So you don't know though if that gets back to Harvey. He's just like, well, screw it. I'll freaking hold your movie till I die. You don't know if that's going to backfire on him. But
well, what an asshole!
Oh yeah,
just an all around piece of shit.
And it's not funny to say.
I'm not laughing at that.
That guy's name will always be attached to at least 20 films that are going to go through our life and then the following generation. Like he's just one of those, bad stains that, you have to deal with. But
what an asshole.
Yeah. And he said also that maybe he said this at the Keswick, maybe he didn't, but he talked about Lionsgate liking all the feedback and how basically they were liking everything Kevin was doing and the hype that they're inquiring with him about Mallrats too.
So hopefully that happens.
Yeah,
dude, it'd be crazy. What if I got to work on that somehow? That'd be cool.
I think you're getting in, dude. I mean,
I don't think I'll be. Don't say that. I'm gonna knock on wood, though. That'd be really cool, Kevin. If you ever see this, which I doubt you will, because I know you don't actually listen to podcasts. He just makes them.
Yeah,
but I always wanted to do it. I mean, I'd have a better chance of literally just asking him next. Hey, man, can I be in my? I wouldn't have a speaking part. It would definitely
me too, Kev, if it's possible. But yeah,
definitely would be in the background.
It's someone in Kevin's spot. I get he probably does want to hear other people's podcasts, but when he's got so much going,
he's got a million things going. That's what I mean. Like
it's hard enough with me running this podcast, and like I've got like my regular 5 other ones, and it's like it's hard. So I was like, "What do you think of this week's show?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm gonna get that day where I could sit down and just be doing shit around my house and I could play them all in a row," but it's hard. It is. When you have a show like this, you got to be patient with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know
how it is. So,
well, I know.
But speaking of that, you are currently co-hosting with somebody, right? On your own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. It's called the KYG Y2K. A millennial nostalgia podcast. Jesse Dram is my co-host. And we just talk about nostalgic things. Like a couple weeks ago, we did like Nickelodeon game shows, stuff like that. This week coming up, it's Dean Bahar from Basketball, Squeak from Basketball. He was Chota Boy in Orgasmo, and he was in Cannibal the Musical. And all around awesome dude. Love the guy, and he's on our podcast this week, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. His character usually steals the show in that universe over there.
He's a funny guy, and if you listen to that, I kind of make an announcement about what I'm doing coming up with. I guess it'll probably take me 2 years. I want to say. To do this, but that's probably so. When you don't see me posting about much, it's what I'm working on something. So yeah, you got to listen to podcast though for that announcement.
Awesome. Yes, definitely keep an eye on this guy. I've known Joe for about 10 years now. He was like one of my original help desks when I
think it's been longer than that.
2000 now, late 2010. I met you in 2011. So yeah, 11 years, but. Back when I just had a million questions, I don't know what to ask. I guess this guy was giving me some good info, and You know, he's one of probably the most likable people I know. It's been on movie sets because everybody always talks highly of him. You know, there's like boom, and that's one other reason why you could see him in my film, The Dark Military. And since it's Halloween, yes, it's a Halloween movie, so free.
It is
in Zumo right now. You can type that in, The Dark Military, and you can watch us in action.
Yes, I am in The Dark Military.
Yes, you are.
But, Happy Halloween, Lord.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely going to get it a lot of press. I think, regardless of people who even don't like the Kevin Smith universe and want to poop on him, I think this will be a curveball that'll, you know, it's definitely a different direction. That's for sure. And again, as I said at the top of this show, these three movies is an amazing trilogy. They all connect, but they're all very different. Like they just are. They all stand alone at the same time. So if you like the first two films, you'll love this one just as much, maybe even more. Who knows? Depending on your taste.
I hope so. It is different.
Yes,
that's why I have to preface. Like it's different. Like it's weird to say that because the whole movie is them making the first movie, but that's not really what this movie is about at all.
Not at all.
It's like there's so much more going on internally than the little funny things that happen while they're making the movie.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah.
Well,
but I think we covered everything.
I think we did. I think we could take her home there. But basically, I'll give you the floor for a second, my friend. Any plugs or any way anybody can get a hold of you? Because I know you have that claymation thing going on. Maybe someone might want to use you. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
On all the things, it's at Joe Gariffo, Gariffo. Yeah, and then the podcast this coming week, and which drops on Thursday, KYG Y2K. That's also on all the things. There's also a video version, so you'll actually get to see Dean, but that won't be out till the weekend. But yeah, we're working on editing. Yeah. So that's what's going on with me.
All right. Well, I hope anybody from the Kevin Smith universe that stopped by was entertained. We went through an emotional movie all together, and we appreciate the Kevin Smith universe. We appreciate Kevin Smith. And with that, I will say thank you for stopping by this podcast. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We have a new show every Monday morning at 5:30 a.m. And with that, I will say thank you, Joe.
Thank you for having me, Lauren. Thank you, buddy.
All right. And with that, the party is over.